Public Service Award, which is named after our esteemed Executive Director, Al Smith, who has given selflessly to this organization for so many years. The Public Service Award is awarded to that person who has dedicated themselves to public service of the citizens of Montana. And to present this award tonight is our esteemed former past president and former winner of this award, Gene Gerussi.
Consistent with John's usual approach, we're going to be brief because time is of the essence for everybody. The Montana Codes has a statute. It's at 221031, and in pertinent part it says this: the holding of public office is a public trust created by the confidence that the electorate reposes in the integrity of legislators. And in a 2013 case, the Montana Supreme Court noted the Montana Code recognizes that public confidence in the integrity of state officials, legislators, and state employees is paramount to the overall effectiveness and legitimacy of the government. Protecting the public trust is part and parcel what the Commissioner of Political Practices does for the state of Montana. And starting in April of 2013 through mid-May of 2017, Jonathan Motl was the Commissioner of Political Practices. And if you were alive and in Montana during those 4 years, you know about Jonathan Motl. He was appointed in 2013, confirmed by the Montana Senate in 2015, about the last bit of business that the Senate did that session in what might be politely described as an absolute bloodbath. It was absolutely brutal because of the strong feelings that so many people had, pro and unfortunately con, to the work that John was doing. One time Jonathan and I, and this is my memory, if I'm wrong, Motl will correct me, but I remember John telling me, we were in a phone conversation, he said, "Gene, you're the most hated man in Helena." And I said, that can't be right. I don't even live in Helena. They got to hate you more than they hate me. But that's the kind of feelings that were evoked by the Commissioner of Political Practices. In his almost exactly 4 years, he issued just under 200 campaign practice decisions, resolving approximately 220 complaints. There's numbers like that. You could go on forever. Ultimately filed approximately 20 enforcement actions in district court. He was the first Commissioner of Political Practices to file any, and that office goes back to the mid-1970s. In the one case to date that's gone to trial, Motl testified as both a fact witness and an expert witness. I asked him a question, and I swear to God, the answer was 4 pages long in the transcript. So, the end result, though, is that a Montana politician was adjudicated by a Montana jury for the first time in 75 years to have been in violation of our campaign laws. It's a first. You got to go back to 1940 for the previous one. And lastly, and equally important as anything else, I think, he's testified against and for numerous bills introduced in the Montana legislature, frankly, many of which were designed to dissolve, abolish, banish, get rid of the Commissioner of Political Practices office, which is a state agency in and itself, of which there are 7 people from top to bottom in that agency. You could have them for dinner right here at a table like right in front of me, and you'd have at least 1 chair extra. It's a small agency that does great work. The impact of this move in the legislature to get rid of the Commissioner's office is telling, because can you, any one of you, tell me how many offices like Montana's Commissioner of Political Practices exist in our 50 states that make up the United States of America? The answer is 1. Montana is the last man standing. And the fight to protect that office, to keep it functioning, is so important. You'd probably think, well, in the 4 years that Motl was there was so many exciting things going, they should make a movie of it. And you know they are. There's a movie that's being made, it's a documentary called Dark Money. But the subtitle is The Life and Times of Jonathan Motl, COPP. Jonathan Motl, the winner of this year's Al Smith Public Service Award.
Well, thank you. I have to say, I didn't expect this. Gene, in his usual way, never told me that I was being nominated, and the first time I heard about it was when Al called me a couple of weeks ago and told me that I was going to get the award. So I am really, really touched, and there are 4 members of my former law firm here. I'm so appreciative of that, and my representative of my family. We got 2 small infants, so we've got a split household here. My son-in-law, Thomas Schoenleben, is here. He just opened a law practice in Hamilton. My daughter, Hannah Gimple, is here, and then my wife, Lorna. So what I want to say is this. The office's funding was limited. Without the trial lawyers, I don't know if it would have been successful. Gene Gerussi litigated that Whitty trial, 2,000 hours pro bono. The trial lawyers sued twice, and even though one of them followed a decision against the trial lawyers, they were always there. I think they understood that even if a ruling went one way, society was served by a enforcement presence. So I thank you guys. I think this is as much your award as it is anybody else's award. There were 2 excellent attorneys that were nominated, or that were applied to be commissioner. They didn't make it past the nomination committee for the same reasons that Gene talked about in regard to my nomination. I'm hopeful someday another attorney will have the office, but I have to tell you this, the 4 years I had it, despite what you heard and saw, it was a joy. I really liked doing it. I felt it was important. I never felt that anything that was happening was too much to endure. And part of that was there was a lot of encouragement and support coming in too. Phone calls, letters. So it wasn't as lonely as it might appear from some of the articles in the paper. But it was a good stint. I'm glad I was there, and I thank you guys for everything you did to help me. Thank you.
Our next